So today we're going to be breaking down a beginner-friendly gadgets buff troll build in DC Universe Online. If you've ever felt lost in buffing your team, pushing insane damage, or maybe even keeping power for your group without stressing, then this is the guide for you. I'm going to be covering everything you need to start strong, from artifacts, allies, loadouts, rotation, and stats. No overcomplication, just a clean, simple step to make you useful in every raid, especially if you're new. By the end of the video, you'll understand exactly how to use gadgets for buff trolling, and you'll be able to jump into any endgame content with confidence. So let's do this. Okay, now, so for beginners, there's a few things here that I noticed you guys are really not doing, and to get the white mods for your gear and also having base mods actually come a long way. So this is something I'd recommend you guys doing. So if you go to your base and you scroll all the way down, you should be able to see the tactical mods that you can equip for your gear. Now, majority of them that I have is actually free. There's only one that is in the marketplace. Well, technically two. So if you inspect your gear on the head, it's the ultimate supercharge mod, which it'll give you 15% supercharge back to you when you use your supercharge. And the second one would be on my legs, which is ultimate critical prowess. This one's not like mandatory. You really don't need this one, honestly. I just recommend the ultimate supercharge mod. Now, if you go to the marketplace, I think on the upgrades tab, it's about 450 marketplace cash, which isn't too much. And like I said, these mods are actually useful, especially if you're going DPS, and I think tanking actually as well, if I'm not mistaken. So I definitely recommend getting those. But for the free ones, for your weapon, you need replenishing adapter. Neck is escalating replenishing proc. You got the accelerator neuro neutralizer for your back, extended supercharge again for the legs, tumbling master for the feet, and power channeling for the hands. And that's pretty much whatever you need for the white mods. For the base mods, you have the support, which is all vit, then offense, which I'd recommend getting all might. And lastly, for the affinity mods, these ones are typically for just endgame players. For these ones to actually work, you need elite gear. And right here in my inventory, I have max out elite gear with 2 OP pieces. So again, like I said, if you don't have the OP piece, then you don't need these. You can actually get them in the House of Legends, talking to Captain Adam. Now, for beginners, a piece of advice that I'd like to give you, try not to run the elite. It's not really necessary if you're still trying to get used to the game, especially crafting your loadouts, picking the role that you want. And I think the regular gear should suffice, not even getting the OP pieces. So if this is the latest DLC that you've been trying to get back into DC, just worry about doing regular, guys. Really, don't try to be the best. I think you should just get a hang of the game, and then next DLC, that's when you should start focusing on getting the elite stuff. Now to talk about the artifacts. Now this is where trolling gets a little bit difficult, especially for beginners. There's a lot of ways to play as troll. The game's been out for over 14 years, and it's pretty obvious there's people that's going to have different ways to play it. Now, I know there's a specific build out there for buff trolls, and again, I can't say this enough. This is not for endgame players who roll with the same people 24/7. This is for the beginners who don't have a league nor have enough friends to play with consistently. So jumping into random raids, you're pretty much going to be that safety net. Speaking of that, majority of the DPS that I come across is all about might. There is still the little bit that do prefer precision, and that's totally fine, but if you really want to max out your damage, then going might is the preferred best, right? So because of that, the first one we're going to be using is claw. And instead of doing your normal power dump, that one actually gets replaced to a group buff. So since we're a buff troll, this is the one we're going to need for sure. That's not a question. You're going to need claw. For your second artifact, Amulet of Rao works really good with claw. So anytime you use your debuffs, it's a whole lot stronger, and it deals damage over time equal to your vitalization and might. So those two are a really good bread and butter combo. And then we have Bob Comlink. Now for Bob Comlink, I think to conserve a lot more energy, Bob Comlink gives you an ability called Bird's Blitz, and that one is one move that applies all 3 debuffs, rather than if you don't have Bob Comlink, then you're going to need to pop 3 different moves for 3 different debuffs, which is something you don't want to do. So this one's actually going to be your 4th slot. And And again, we're doing a might buff troll. So Tetra is specifically for might, and it increases your might based on your health. So later on, I'll be talking about what you're speccing into, and majority of your skill points are going to go for health. That way you can get that increase of might. So that one would go on your 3rd slot. Now the last one is actually an interesting one, which is Sinestro's Corrupted Ring. So I use this specifically for you to get your power back and also a supercharge. And since this build is consistent on spamming your supercharge, then Sinestro's Ring is literally the most important one, since you're gaining that back. Now before Sinestro's Ring, we actually was using Scrap of Soul Cloak. Now Scrap of Soul Cloak, there's really nothing wrong with that. It's just for Sinestro's Time Ring, when you activate the Avatar of Fear, it does damage to the target that you're focused on. So that's really good. And you're definitely going to need that for your DPS. Now for the 2 honorable mentions on the artifacts for Troll is Brand of Hecate and Cog. Now for Cog, that one's specifically for precision. So if you're in a league or you have friends that are specifically spec'd into precision damage, then just take away Tetra, which is for might, and replace that one with Cog. Okay, now there is a build out there for buffs, like just a straight up buff troll. If you guys are interested in that, I'll talk about that on another video. I don't think the gameplay that I'm going to show you after all of this cycles between the 2 different builds, but if it does, you'll see me use Brand of Hecate for the ads, and then I'll swap back to the original loadout that I'm talking about now when I do the boss fight, right? Because you're going to want to spam your supercharge, and your supercharge is what you're kind of dependent. So if you're going to be using my build, get these ones at least 160 and then focus on Brand of Hecate and then Cog. Now for your end game players, I already know you guys probably have Brand of Hecate and Bop Comlink completely maxed out, so that's really good, and you're ahead of the curve. But if you're a beginner, I'd focus on Brand of Hecate first and then Cog. Eventually they're probably going to make a DLC where precision is going to be a little bit more damage. They tend to do that a lot. So the day that precision is the most preferred one, then we'll just switch Tetra with Cog, and that's pretty much it. Adaptive augments. You want the latest DLCs? Clearly. I don't have it maxed. I usually take my time with these ones, so I really don't care. And then for the origin augments, you typically need to run might, since we're technically a buff troll. But for me, I am running just Vit. That way I can put out a little bit more power than normal. But it's all about perspective. This is just working for me. Now for the combat ally, we got John Constantine. He's totally worth the investment in my opinion. And since we are a buff troll, then John Constantine does exactly that. He gives us enough might, which is about 18%. Now keep in mind, if you don't have John Constantine or want to make the investment, Death Metal Batman is perfectly fine. I used him before I even got John Constantine. The only difference is Death Metal Batman does debuff, so you got your preference there. But there's a reason why I'm using John Constantine. We're a buff troll, so buffing as much as you can totally helps, which is why I use Cyborg, right? So since I'm buffing with my combat ally, Cyborg, I use him so that way, as long as our generated cell mods, which is over here, is above 50%, then we should be perfectly fine, and we'll get that 35% power regen gainage, right? Let's see here. Yeah, okay, 35%. So if you don't want to use Cyborg as your support ally, then I think you can just use General Zod to get another might buff. It's only 1.25%, so it's not like... it just helps, okay? Like if you really want to go straight up buff troll, then yeah, go ahead and use General Zod. But again, for the sake of the purposes of the video and this build, you're probably going to just stick with better with Cyborg. And then lastly is John Stewart. He is the bread and butter of this whole build, okay? You need John Stewart as an ally. If not, it's really just not going to do you so good, because this build is all about spamming supercharge, and John Stewart gives you a stronger shield. So this is exactly what makes this build a safety net for your whole teammates, right? Especially the ones that aren't pulling enough aggro, since your tank isn't that good. And your healer, if they're not putting out enough heals, then you're pretty much helping the team staying alive. So even out of Cyborg and John Constantine, I definitely recommend getting John Stewart first, and then John Constantine, and then Cyborg, right? So in that specific order, in case you guys are beginners and haven't had a single ally yet. Now finally, to get to the gadgets troll build, So if you go to your traits, now I only have about 418 skill points, so it's really not a lot. If you guys have more skill points than me, whew, then you guys are going to be doing a whole lot more better than I am. If you have less skill points than me, then just try to get it up. I feel like anywhere between 400 to 500 skill points is really good. So you're going to max out the page on brawling, then go to martial arts, go back to brawling, and get the weapon mastery combo. So we're actually going to be doing weapon mastery. That's just the way I like to play. Now you don't have to, essentially, because you are a might buff, and might players don't do weapon mastery, so you can speckle in a little bit differently. Like I said earlier on the video, it's all about preference. For super speed, just get your super speed so you can run pretty fast. No iconic abilities. And for your stat points, this one in particular, we're going to go hybrid. Don't go 20, just 10 on critical power chant, critical power magnitude. And then right here, I only went 125 for vitalization, but majority of your skill points just use it on health. The more health you have, the better your might buff will be, because of the artifact Tetra. So if for some reason you're not running Tetra and you just refuse to do might buff, you're kind of wasting your points here. So do not use that here. But again, for the sake of this video and the freaking build, this is what you want. And then lastly, for the loadout, for gadgets, we got Neuro Neutralizer. This is a shield, so that's definitely going to help. You got Defibrillator, which is your buff. In this instance, usually it's just a power heal. You got Bird Blitz, which is the debuffs. Then you have Distract in case ads are coming to you or anything like that. You can just use that. Now like for X, you can actually replace this with Holographic Decoy or even Stealth for that matter. If you really just want to make it look a little bit authentic and different, you could jump into Stealth and then pop Battle Display or maybe EMP if you like, or just, you know, pretty much anything that you want. Sometimes I do that just because I get bored. But for this instance, I typically like to use Holographic Decoy. If not, then just use Distract, and you should be fine. Either one of them, you're perfectly fine. I just prefer Distract. For the next move, you have Stasis Field. Now, this one actually helps you build a little bit more of your cooldown. For the next power, you got Stasis Field. Now, Stasis Field actually gives you a little bit more of a portion back to your supercharge than all the other abilities. So I'd stick with Stasis Field if you just want to change Neuro Neutralizer. I wouldn't understand why you want to change that. It's just an additional shield for you to be protected. Especially in B&E, man, Grundy and Martian Manhunter are very annoying. So kind of building a best defense is the best offense, right? So just keep Stasis Field. That one will help you build the supercharge a little bit faster. And then of course you got Battle Drone, which is your supercharge. So for the rotation itself, right? So we're going to use Weapon Mastery, then Bird Blitz, and Defibrillator. That's the first one. So you know you got everything active when the Avatar Fear comes out. And you also have Claw, which is the little orange things popping out in your body. Right there is just the perfect example. That's exactly what you need to get everything started. Once you do that, Weapon Mastery, you got Stasis Field and Defibrillator as your second one. And then your last one, especially if you need it, just do Weapon Mastery, Neuro Neutralizer, and Defibrillator. So that's all you need. So majority of the time, you're just going to be popping Bird Blitz, so that way you can keep your debuffs up. And then just hitting them. And then every once in a while, just keep doing that rotation, right? In that order. Whatever you deem necessary. Now, the cool thing about this is, so I'm going to use my supercharge now. Okay, now check this out. So that's what John Stewart does. He replaces your shield with a stronger Green Lantern shield. Now, the moment your supercharge ends, it is a solid 15 seconds right now, starting now, 15 seconds for you to use your next supercharge. Now, mind you, okay, every 15 seconds, that means that your team just has to freaking wait 15 seconds while you're doing this till you pop supercharge again. And that's the same rotation. Simple as that. Now, before you jump into the raid, just get your first supercharge maxed out. So that way when you get in there, at least you already have one if you need it. And then anything after that, it'll just build naturally. Like, you can literally spam that supercharge every time the cooldown is done. And that's all you need to know. That's literally it. So that's the rotation. That's how it typically goes. I'm actually pretty curious what you guys think. So seriously, share your thoughts on the comment section. And let's go through the gameplay now. Alright, so I'm going to try to do my best to explain while I go. So I already have my supercharge before I started the mission, right? That's definitely something you want to do. That way you can get a head start. And then well, it kind of just depends on who you're playing with. I'm not sure if these guys are just going to make you do everything, but typically the troll is left to do majority of the pickups, opening all the doors, and for the Superboy boss, you're going to be pretty much closing all the portals. And like this first boss, if there's an extra miss that hasn't been taken or someone got down, you'd be the one that would be doing it, right? So you'll probably see as we go. I'm going to try to talk as much as I can, but I don't know. I'm usually a quiet guy. But we'll see. So I do weapon mastery, do my debuffs, and I just kind of keep clipping the powers. That's just how my preference is. Really
what are they doing
have
here?
to do it. Now, sometimes when I'm running with the league, I'll just swap out my different loadouts between the Brand Attack and this one, but for this instance, I'm not doing that. Just to kind of show you guys how good this build is. It works, you know. It's not the preferred buff trolling, but for the, like I said, for the people who really just don't have the same team, this is probably the best build for you to use. I'm like 95% confident the day they bring back survival, this is it. This is gonna be a build, I'm telling you. So I'm gonna pop my ult and I'm gonna run through this door. Right, so you're gonna open this door, that way the tank can pull aggro. Typically he's supposed to, but we'll see. So watch, he's gonna get up. The cooldown lasts about 15 seconds, so then just pop it again. And I'm telling you, once you get the first supercharge and you start the raid, you're not going to run out. You can literally spam this thing every second the cooldown is done. And once the shield comes off the supercharge, you're literally waiting, I think, like 15 seconds tops.
Find a way to unlock the... Not this again. I think we're not... Well, that didn't take as long as last time. It could have taken all day.
How's it going over there? We're losing people, and that's just growing their numbers.
So now this is something you guys are going to get used to, but just kind of look at everyone's health. Once you see someone go down, find them, pick them up. Now these are the mists I'm talking about. Just in case if you guys haven't had or ran this raid yet, you grab a mist, put it in there. Right, this side, and then you grab the mist again, and then you put it on the other side. And that's it. But if you get down by Grundy or Martian Manhunter, then the mist will go back here. And at that point, don't even worry about it. The troll is supposed to do the rest.
Put in the rainbow, we get out our pot of gold. A mist with the power to neutralize the Black Lantern in Metropolis. I'm going to reconfigure the logic battery. The mist must get in there safely.
Now what I like to do is, just in case if the tank is squishy, I'll grab the mist the first time around, and then the second time I'll pop ultimate before I pick it up. I said ultimate, I mean supercharge.
Blackhand and Necron must have caught wind of our scheme. Don't let them interfere with the process.
I'm hoping that he pulls aggro, man. If not, we did. So then I'll pop supercharge.
Carol, we're running out of time.
Next mist.
I know.
I do that a lot just because it's just. Oh look, what did I just say? I'm telling you that that was perfect. Thanks, Martian. All right, so now I'm just gonna pop supercharge again. I'm just gonna wait. Kind of time it. You don't just always want to use it. Thought that was a perfect time too, but that didn't work. Now I'm just gonna be a little bit patient.
We did it. The essence of life. We created a white, diamond.
So now get ready to use everything.
It worked. It worked! You're a genius!
I know.
Get a room. Better yet, get to Metropolis.
Oh, that's actually funny. Look at that shield. Damn, that thing is massive. And then you're kind of just focused now on pickups and Grundy. I think he's the most annoying one. Martian Manhunter gives you a few seconds of a window to kind of just get out of the way before he one-shots you. But Grundy don't. And then now you'll see me jumping like this a lot when I clip my powers and stuff. I do that for that reason. Grundy usually comes for me, and when that happens, I definitely don't want to be in that spot. So I just stay mobile. I try not to stay still. It really helps in B&E. And if you were, clearly you're watching this video, so gadgets is probably the power. But that's why Quantum is a very good elite troll power to use, because it has quantum tunneling, so you don't have to keep jumping. You can just use that, teleport somewhere else.
Perhaps you
It's good for
could use some
pickups and stuff.
Monk, can you give us a lift to Metropolis?
Gather.
Yeah, I think this is pretty smooth.
Carapura.
All right, now most people kind of ask me, especially my league mates, like, what made you come up with this? It's just, I feel like there's a lot of newer players now coming out, and I just feel bad because I was there. I remember when I didn't understand DC like that, so I want to create something where you guys can actually just kind of, it's just going to be a good investment. And then for the people that's going to tell you, hey, there's room for improvement for this troll build, well then that's when you can focus on like a straight up buff troll, right? But I think as a safety net, it's definitely, it comes as handy.
We've got to cut a path through.
Then follow my lead or stay out of my way.
See, I don't really have to hit my supercharge right now since I'm keeping the power up.
Hey, the whole gang is here.
But for this instance, this is what really makes Jon Stewart as an ally stand out. That shield really does help a lot. Especially for the tanks, man. No, I lied. I'd say especially for the healers. You wouldn't really have to put out that much healing since you're shielding them from damage. This is where, oh wait, he needs to grab the other two.
You need to
Well,
learn
that's
from
just
them.
super. Remember, everyone, he's corrupted. Don't kill him.
Because now's really
Alright, so now you're gonna pretty much zoom out on your screen.
Just shut up and be your
I'm really not paying attention to the debuffs or anything like that. I am just focusing straight up on the portals. Once they open up, you gotta make sure you get them. Now, I'm not gonna use supercharge until the first portal opens, because they're gonna need power. One and the other one. Once you close two of them, focus on Superboy again. Spam all your stuff. supercharger, saw people getting down, getting hurt. That's pretty much it for Superboy. Yeah, that was super smooth. I just figured there's really not a lot of troll videos out there, and I'm like, you know what? I'll do it myself.
Life is futile, and your plan is futile. That white mist can't even penetrate my lord's flesh.
My herald is correct. Your hope dies here, as will you all.
Okay, so for the Necron boss fight, this one's pretty simple. So you're just gonna grab the mist containers and then throw it in the black portal. Whenever you throw them, you're gonna do it 4 times. So make sure each time you go on group shot and you type the number that you are in, right? So the first one, type 1, second one, type 2, so on and so forth. So the healer should be typically this, like literally surrounded by the DPS, and they're just gonna do the 10k. So while they're doing 10k, you can just spam your power dump. Typically, for this build, it's not even a power dump, but you can do it if you like. You'll still give enough power, but it's not. You really don't have to. I usually just do it because again, I'm not just gonna stand here doing nothing, bro. I got ADHD, so I'm just gonna do this while waiting for the container and. Pretty much a rinse and repeat till you have to beat Necron. With the mist containers, it's time to attack this dude.
You're going back to the land of the unwritten.
You sound just like a team. Shut your figure disgusts me.
I do not.
Now this one's not really hard, just kind of stay away from the ads that's probably going to pop up in the left-hand corner where the tank is at. And then the black orbs. Stay away from those pancakes right there. I didn't even pop out Constantine, what the hell? I'll just pop out the shield, but I think everyone's rocking on it. Swear to God. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That was such a smooth raid run. Yeah, that's pretty much the build. There's really nothing else to say about it. It's typically just to keep everyone alive, man. Especially when the tank's just not doing so hot or the healer's not doing so hot. This build is for you. I really do think it's just a good survivability one as well. So if maybe the day they come out with survival again, this build would probably kind of come back. So let me know what you guys think on the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.